I am going to start with a slip knot. And I'm going to use a 5mm crochet hook. I'm going to chain 37 for my foundation chain, but you can chain any number that you want as long as it is an odd number. I've got a foundation chain of 37, and I'm going to start row 1 by going into the second chain from the hook. So you're not going to count the chain on your hook. 1, 2. We're going to go right here, and I'm going to go in the back bump as I do all of my starting rows so that the foundation chain doesn't get pulled very loose. And I'm going to do a single crochet. And then the rest of row 1 is going to be a single crochet in every chain all the way across. If you don't want to go in the back bump, then you can just insert your hook into the front of the chain. That is the end of row 1. For row 2, the same thing as row 1, chain 1, turn, and we're going to do a single crochet in every stitch. I'm going to work this tail into my row. I'm going to continue single crochets to the end of the row. Okay, that is the end of row 2. For row 1 and row 2, you will have 36 stitches at the end if you did the 37 chain 1. I mean the 37 foundation chain like I did. If you did a different number, then you should have just one less. So now we're going to do row 3, chain 1, turn your work. The first stitch is going to be a single crochet. So go right into that first stitch. The next stitch is going to be a single crochet spike stitch. And if you haven't done spike stitches before, the only thing that's different is that you're, instead of going into the row that you're working in, you're going to go down to the row below. Some patterns will have you go 1 below. We're going to go 2 below. So we're going to bring our stitches down to the foundation chains. So this is row 2 and this is row 1. So this is the first stitch and we did a single crochet for that. So this is the stitch that we're going to go into. So we're going to do a single crochet spike that's going to go right in here. So you do just like you would do a regular single crochet, except you're inserting the hook down below. And then you're going to grab it and pull your yarn to where your hook is level with the top of your project, and then complete your single crochet. Next stitch, single crochet. Make sure that you're going into the right place. If you look at the stitches, make sure that your spike stitch is only covering the one stitch, and you're putting your third stitch for the row into the one next to it. So we will end up having the same number of stitches, which is 36 for this one, except it's going to look like you're skipping this one, but you're not skipping it because you're putting the spike stitch over the top of it. So for this row, we're just going to alternate single crochet and single crochet spike stitches. So that was a single crochet. So now we're going to do a spike. So you look at it and you're skipping this one because that's where you have this single crochet. So then we're going to go into the one next to it. And then single crochet. And then spike. Make sure that your spike stitch loop is not too loose, but you also don't want your hook to have to lean down like this if it's too tight. You want to just loosen it just enough so that it stays level. You don't want this up here to be too loose. We're skipping that one, so we're going right here. When you're looking down at this and you want to make sure that you've got it in the right place, just make sure that these spike stitches have one in between. And then I'm just going to continue that all the way to the end. Okay, I'm getting towards the end of the row. That's the single crochet. And then we will be ending the row with a spike stitch. So you can see it goes right there on that end. So this is a little bit awkward to do this type of stitch on the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this end with my finger and try to help level that. And that is the end of row 3. And for row 4, chain 1, turn your work, you should see little V's across the back of your project. The first stitch is going to be a single crochet. And then we're going to make another single crochet. The entire project is made with single crochets. However, it looks like it's different stitches because it's just where you are putting your hook. So if you look right here where this last spike stitch was, you can see this V that was made. So we're not going to do anything with this one on the end, but this one right here, we're going to do a single crochet by using this leg and this leg. And because we're going to keep our stitches 36, if you look at the main row, this is the stitch that we're using to make this single crochet with these two legs. So then this will be the stitch after that. So just make sure when you do it, you're not covering up this stitch to the point that you can't see it. So single crochet with those two legs. Make sure that your project is not leaning down and that when you come up, you hold it level. And then now we're going to put a single crochet in the stitch next to it. And it's just that same repeat pattern all the way across. So you're going to start your single crochet with your legs from one side, from one spike stitch, and then connecting it to the spike stitch next to it. Kind of pull your hook level, complete your single crochet, and then put just a regular single crochet in the one next to it. And continue that all the way across. When you look at a finished project using this pattern, it looks like it would be a very complicated pattern to make. But when you start breaking it down in different rows and you realize that it's all single crochet stitches, it's just a matter of where your hook is being inserted. It's really a very simple pattern, but I like that it looks like something that maybe somebody with a lot of skill would do, but you really don't need any skill other than knowing how to do a single crochet to complete this entire project. Okay, I just finished doing one of the single crochet with the spike legs. And so then I do the regular single crochet. And then at the end of this, row 4, we're not going to do another single crochet with the legs. We're just going to do another regular single crochet. So row 4 will always end in a 2 single crochets at the end. And for row 5, chain 1, turn your work, and this row is going to be like row 3, except instead of starting with a single crochet, we're going to start with a spike stitch, and it's because they're going to be staggered. So if you look down at your project, you can see all of the spike stitches here. we will have spike stitches go in the middle of those. So 2 rows down, so not this row, but that row right there is where our spike stitches are going to go. And there's going to be a spike stitch in between these spike stitches from the previous rows. So first stitch is a spike stitch. Make sure that your yarn is not too loose. And then the next stitch is a single crochet. Make sure that you're putting it in the right stitch. So if you kind of pull this spike stitch apart a little bit, you can see that first stitch right there. That one is being used with a spike stitch. So then the next one, stitch number 2, is a single crochet, a regular single crochet. And then we go back into doing spike stitches. So the spike stitch goes here, and we're using that single crochet, and then a regular single crochet goes here, and then a spike stitch, regular, spike stitch, regular, and do that all the way across. And when you look at the other side, your hook should be going through the middle of the V that was made from doing your single crochet with the legs. The last stitch in row 5 is going to be a single crochet. That's the end of row 5. And this is going to be the last row. Row 6 is going to be the last one before we start our repeat. Chain 1, turn your work. We're going to go back to doing single crochets with the legs of the spike stitches. So the last time we did that, we started with a single crochet in the first stitch. This time we're going to do a single crochet in the first 2 stitches. And that's just so that everything gets lined up right. And now the third stitch is going to be a single crochet with the legs. And then a regular single crochet, and then repeat that pattern till you get to the end of the row. Okay. The last stitch in row 6 is a single crochet. And that is the end of row 6. So now we're going to go into repeating our pattern. So what you're going to repeat is rows 3 through 6. Rows 1 and 2 were just single crochets all the way across, and that is what gave us our base so that we were able to do our spike stitches, because we had to have a couple of rows to drop the spike stitches down. So repeating rows 3 through 6 for the rest of your project, it actually works up pretty quickly. It does end up being a pretty thick project. Okay, I'm gonna make this my last row, and I am ending the project with a row 6 pattern. Okay, I'm going to cut this. Tie it off. Gonna make another little knot right here, just so it's locked in good. So because it looks like it's a little bit wonky, probably on a couple of the rows, I had my tension too tight where I was pulling my hook. I probably didn't pull my hook up level to the row on a couple of them, and it looks like maybe it pulled it a little bit tight. So this is the chain 37. So if you do that, it's going to be about 8 3/4 inches wide, and then I'm just going to stop here at about 8. Probably what I will do is make another one just like this, and I will probably sew the two of them together and make a hot pad. Just this thickness as it is with one by itself, you could probably use it as a pot holder if you wanted to. It is very thick and stiff. This is probably a little bit too big for a pot holder. You might want to make it a little bit smaller. But this is a one-sided pattern. So you've got this beautiful smocking on one side, and then the back side is just flat, but it looks a little bit like a moss stitch if you've ever done a moss stitch. So you could use this for a basket if you wanted to do it in the rounds. So I'm going to weave in my tail. Mine needs to be pulled a little bit to make it even and flat, and that is because I didn't make sure that my hook was level when I was doing my spike stitches.